Hey girlies, I thought I'd come on here and talk about one of my most requested videos, which is number one, how I recovered from binge eating, secondly, my weight loss journey, and thirdly, my biggest dieting mistakes. So I thought I'd put them all in one video because all of you girls keep asking for longer videos. I've got a little list. If I go off track, please ignore because I'm trying to make this as organic as possible. So yeah, doing it in my little journal. Also, girls, look at this new colour. From Define, it's the Fuchsia. But yeah, if you don't know me, my name is Mag. I've lost 20 kilograms over the past 2 years. I'm a Define and Able athlete, both code Mag, and an EHP athlete, Mag 10. So we're going to start off with binging because that's probably the biggest topic of mine and probably the biggest issue that I experience myself. Firstly, I want to start off with, you need to recognize binging is a response to an emotion, in my opinion. So what I've used to find is that food wasn't the main problem. Food used to be the answer or the cure, because if you don't know, food releases dopamine, which is the feel-good chemical in our brain. So that's why people keep going to it, and that's why I went to it all the time. So in terms of myself personally, the main reason that I used to go to it was stress. I didn't have much direction in life. I was failing most of my exams because I couldn't get my head down. I was going out drinking all the time. Basically, I went through an awful breakup and I didn't address it properly. So I was very stressed and didn't have much direction. So I used to go to like quick dopamine fixes, and that was my problem, but it's different for everyone. So yeah, half the time it is not food that's the issue. Food is the cure in your mind, basically. My biggest advice in terms of that is to go back a few steps and look at the reason. So what is causing you to feel these emotions that you need to go to food? Sometimes you need to really strip it back rather than trying to focus on losing weight, trying to focus on why you're going to food. That would be my biggest advice. And if you're someone who's really struggling, I would say meal prepping and being prepared for your binges. The more prepared you are for these emotions to come, the less likely you are to respond in a really negative way. So if you have like a meal prep ready, any sort of like healthy snack, that's a really good way to curb any cravings. Secondly is to not buy big amounts of like certain foods. Like I would never go to the shop, even to this day, and buy like a big pack of chocolate. If I want it or if I'm craving it, I'll buy one. And these are little things that I changed in my life that really made the difference to me. Yeah, that's my small little thing on binge eating. It is really something that takes time. Trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. I find routine really helps. Eating at the same times every day, having a meal plan. Certain things I could do, like before I go to bed, I'll put in my macro factor or my fitness pal what I'm going to eat the next day. When it comes to it, I don't have that like wandering aspect in my brain. What am I going to eat? How am I going to fix my macros? Just one less thing I need to stress about. Next topic is calorie deficit, how to figure it out. The easiest way to do it is to type in TDEE calculator online and you fill in all the details and it should give you the calorie for you. And then I recommend macro factor because it's like having your own mini coach. Okay. Next little thing is my worst binge. I'm just going to talk about it because it's an open and honest space. The worst one I ever had was I had a 6-pack of Snickers and I got a jar of jam and a jar of peanut butter, and I literally got the chocolate bar and was dipping it in both and just eating it, and I finished all of it. And I think that was the night where I was like, okay, enough is enough. Maybe we need to stop here because this isn't normal. I just put a little poll, not a poll, I just put a little question box on my Instagram, so some of your questions are coming in, so I'm going to answer that on here as well. The next one is, do you need a coach? And did I have a coach? And the answer is no, you don't. For my initial weight loss from this to this, I did not have a coach. I did research, hours of research, and just self-growth. I think once you nail the basics of a calorie deficit, it's really not that difficult. Ooh, my eye. I think a coach is really beneficial when you're trying to take it to the next level. If you're someone who lacks accountability and really needs guidance, I think a coach is the best thing that you can do. I'm in a position now where I currently have a coach and I am learning so much. It's really cool because I'm able to relay that information to you guys. I also have a really exciting announcement. I'm actually going to start coaching. If any of you girls resonate with me, want to be coached by me, then I'll leave a link in the bio. I would never tell you that you need a coach. You don't need one. I'm a choice is there, and there's so many other amazing coaches out there if that's something you're interested in. I think coaches are really good for accountability. Like I have one myself, and they also take a little bit of stress off of you. If you're someone who really stresses about your goals, or let's say you've been in a calorie deficit for a certain amount of time and you want to push to the next level and increase your calories, and that's daunting, which is something that is daunting for me, then I think a coach is one of the best things that you can do. Anyways, next. Oh gosh, how to make your waist smaller. If any of you have asked me this question, I understand because I'll put some photos, you can see the difference. It is crazy. I'm someone who holds body fat around my midsection, very unfortunately, because I don't really hold much at all on my lower body, which I wish I did. In terms of shrinking it, all I did was trained my shoulders, trained my back, which gives you the appearance of this like V taper, which in effect makes your waist look smaller. That joined with a calorie deficit. That's all I did. Next one, I have a book over here, by the way. Do you need cardio? Amazing question. In my opinion, no. I think that too many people focus on cardio, and I was a Stairmaster, sporadic cardio, which I was the exact same, rather than a calorie deficit. It all comes down to calories in versus calories out. Your body needs to be burning more than what you're consuming. I think cardio is a great tool for fat loss, but I don't think it should be the main driver. For me, I'd put myself in a small calorie deficit. This is what I did. About 200 calories, and I did that over time. And I was tracking my weight. And then when I hit a plateau, either I would increase my steps or increase my cardio. By that, I mean, let's say I put myself in a 200 calorie deficit, so I'm around 1,900 calories. I'm doing 10,000 steps, which I'll get onto. When I start to notice that my weights hit a plateau, so I'm not decreasing anymore, then maybe I'd implement 20 minutes cardio per week. Something as small as that can make such a difference. And then you'll see your weight start to drop again. It's like, right, okay, when I hit a plateau next, what can I do? Maybe I'll do 30 minutes cardio. I think that it should be something that's an additive to what you're doing rather than the main driver of fat loss, because you will get burnt out. I have been there. Okay, next we're gonna get onto steps. Do you need to be doing 10,000 steps? In my opinion, no. If you're someone who's super busy and you're more than happy to lower your calories to a certain number, then you don't need it. But in my opinion, it's really good, number one, to create routine. Number two, just to do general movement. It's good to be moving at all points of the day as much as you can. You don't want to be sedentary. And thirdly, like, it's just extra calories that literally cost nothing. Walking is free. So it's like an extra 300 calories a day you burn, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're someone who's entirely sedentary and you're eating at maintenance and you do 10,000 steps a day, you're putting yourself in a calorie deficit. Okay, next topic is workouts. How many should you be doing a week? I'm personally on a 5-day split, but it is entirely personal. This is one question that I think can be answered differently by everyone. My mouth is so dry. So dry. Also, hydration is key, guys. Okay, in terms of workout, you want to be doing something that is personal to you, something that you enjoy, something that you can adhere to, and something that isn't a big inconvenience. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to stick to it. When it comes to building muscle and fat loss, it is about frequency, which basically means how often you do something. So if you're sporadic with your training, one day you're training legs, 5 days later you're training legs again, and you've done nothing in between, you've been sedentary, you're really not going to see that much progress. But if you have a set program, even if it's 2 days a week, you know, on this day and this day I'm training this and this, you will see progress. It's only when you get to being a little bit more advanced, this is where you really need to start dialing down your training. Okay, this is a question from my Instagram, and it is, how did you get out of a rut or plateau if you were ever in one? When you're in a rut, the best thing that I would suggest is creating a routine. Say the past week I've been feeling in a rut, I'm unmotivated. I like to write in my journal what I'm going to do tomorrow. So in this journal in particular, it will say today's plan, my shopping list, my expenses, daily exercise, and personal notes, and quote of the day. So what I'll do when I'm in a rut is I'll journal the night before. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this and this and this. It's all about discipline rather than motivation. Motivation is not always going to be there, but it's about sticking to the plan and not the mood. So if I plan out tomorrow, today, I've got a plan. All I have to do is follow it. And I think that eventually this becomes kind of like a delayed dopamine response, because you're constantly following a routine, your plan, and you know that you're going towards your goals. That's my best advice. I think it really doesn't have to be complicated, or it could just be small things like, let's say you've had a day where you've been entirely sedentary and you've done basically nothing. I just think going for an evening walk, like it's the smallest thing, just to give you that little bit of dopamine, to make you feel a little bit better, like you've done something. There's been so many times, especially like with my current health, that I've done nothing in the day and like it will genuinely tear me down. But as long as I do one thing, one box is ticked. So let's say my 10k steps, I'll go for an hour walk. One box is ticked. That makes me feel so much better for the rest of the week. Okay, this is a nice question. So if any of you don't know, I was in a calorie deficit for about 12 weeks. I didn't lose much weight on the scale, but because of my health, I lost my periods, and every single day I felt like I was walking through honey. It was awful. We had to come out of it, and my calories are up. for the first time, which is really intimidating. If you're someone who's lost a load of weight, it is scary, but I have a coach which keeps me grounded. You don't always need to be in a calorie deficit to be making progress. It's so common for women nowadays to feel like they always need to lose weight, but half the time if you look at the women, well, for me anyways, when I look at the women who I aspire to look like, let me rephrase. When I look at the women who inspire me, they have a lot of muscle mass, and you don't need to be in a huge calorie surplus to gain muscle, but you definitely need to have energy available to push yourself in your sessions and to be able to progressively overload in the gym. So for me, the best way I've dealing with it or dealt with it is telling myself that my plan has changed. I'm now in a position where I want to gain muscle, so next time I'm in a deficit, I don't have to lower my calories as low. I won't have to do as much cardio, and I know that when I get to the body fat that I want to be at, that I have so much more muscle mass and I'll feel so much more confident. It's like when you get lean, do you have the right amount of muscle or the amount of muscle that you ideally want to feel confident when you're lean? I think that's really, really important to consider. And for me personally, no. Upper body wise, yes, but in terms of lower body, no. I want a lot more muscle mass. So yes, I've gained a little bit of body fat, but I know that my coach and myself would never let myself get to the point where I was before. You know, you could look at that and think that was healthy. Mentally, it wasn't for me, and I would never let myself get to a point where I'm holding so much body fat that mentally it affected me. That's how I'm dealing with it. Follow the plan, not the mood. Some days I feel really confident. I'm like, oh, I've got a glute pump. Like, because when you get into deficit, you kind of lose that a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a glute pump. Like, my legs are great. Or I'm like increasing weight in the gym. That's amazing. And also waking up every day feeling energized. Like, that is so nice. But yeah, just following the plan. Like, I get days where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to wear this crop top, or I wish I could wear a sports bra in the gym and feel confident. But it's just one day. Like, I don't always feel that way. So yeah. Okay, girlies, I'd say my last thing is, when I finally recovered, I used to think that I had the cleanest diet. The meals that I were making on a surface were clean, but I didn't understand the concept of calories, which I don't think you should hyperfixate on them entirely, because that can be bad for your mental, especially if you come from like an ED background. Put some examples of meals that I used to eat, and I used to think that I had the cleanest diet until I actually took a look at the calories. And looking back, I would have to eat 2 of those meals to have my entire day's worth of calories. And I've got the appetite of like a 7-foot man, so I was eating 5 of these a day. So now, now I implement things such as volume eating. So I'll eat big meals still, but loads of vegetables, lean proteins, things like potatoes because they're so satiating, like potatoes over rice, things like that, just to keep me full, and just means that I can eat more because I've got a big appetite. I think that's all I'm going to answer for today, girlies. If you have any other questions or want any more videos from me, let me know. I would be more than happy to answer them for you. And again, just to reiterate, I am now offering coaching. So if you girlies are interested in being coached by me, I will leave a link in the bio for you to contact me. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.